This is my first course that I'm recording today on time management. Hope you like it. They say time stays long enough for those who use it. I think it's one of the quotes of Einstein. Makes sense. The guy who used perhaps every moment of his life to give us the life we have currently today. Time is one of the most intriguing things. So much so that Indian scriptures, Western philosophers, and in neighborhood Panwala, everybody can give you a lecture on time, right? One of my biggest time management challenges was managing my schedule effectively. Those who know me well, I'm known for doing multitasking, though I preach more about not doing multitasking, but it's one of the compulsive habits I have. So with so many meetings, appointments to attend, I always found it difficult to find time for some important tasks, such as, strategic planning and business development. I know some friends who work for the university or in the research and all, they always keep their Fridays for reading and doing research. So despite my many such efforts, I was never able to do that because my task of running business and spending my time in the NGO and also doing family and other things that I do, not able to apply such principles like a researcher or college professor would be able to do. So I found myself constantly rushing from one meeting to the next, leaving very little time to process the information or take any meaningful action or suggestion given by somebody during the meeting. So to overcome this challenge, I started by reevaluating my schedule and prioritizing my meetings based on their level of importance. Now again, as I said, for a multitasker like myself, it was not an easy thing to do. Prioritize your task. Everybody knows, prioritize your task, give to the important task first. That story of jar and stone and pebbles and sand and water. I'm sure you all know the story. A professor brought a jar and all these things to the class. I will not repeat that here because almost everyone talking about time management has covered that story. But I faced the same challenge. But most important thing for me to learn was when to say no to the meetings, when to say no to the tasks that were not essential or where I thought I couldn't add much value. And I thought somebody else could be able to do it better, not taking everything upon myself. Now, it may sound easier said than done, but it is possible. And in my experience, I have found most of us who face time management challenge are facing that because we are not able to say no to certain things that we should not be doing. So I would say the first thing we should all learn is that, because by doing so, you are able to free up more time in your schedule and focus on important tasks and also find holes for the task like high-level strategic planning for your business, for your studies, for your life, for your whatever else you may be doing. One story that comes to mind is that you may not have heard of. That once a father told his son, every day I will give you $100,000. $100,000 every day, but you have to use those in the 24 hours. After that, whatever is left over is not carried forward. So 100,000 every day, see what you can do with it. And guess, the guy struggled. First he wanted to just watch all the movies or buy all the goodies that he was dreaming of. Clothes and this and that. And every day, even after buying all those things, he was left with huge amount of money and he regretted leaving that on the table. Not being able to use it. That's exactly the thing with us on time. We all are given same 24 hours every day and we are asked, use it or lose it. Those who are able to spend the time in doing the right things, in developing their future, are the winners, needless to say. So let's see if in this journey you end up being the winner that we all want to be in using the time effectively. Now, what will this course offer you? The course is designed to keep in mind the requirements of students and professionals both. When you enroll in this course, you will learn from me, an industry expert, the techniques which are time-tested, person-tested on myself and proven to be successful, at least for me. Enrolling in this course will give you lifetime access to the course material and videos, along with access to a community of my followers and students where you can talk and discuss with like-minded people about your personal problems hopefully related to time management or your career and other things. Let's not talk about uski kameez meri kameez se safed kaise, huh? Let's not talk about things like why his shirt is whiter than mine. Let's stay focused on improving our life through this forum. This is a self-paced 180 minutes interactive course. Before that, a story comes to my mind that will help you understand why time management is important. The story goes like this. There was a kingdom where they had a rule that they will select the king, like in a way the democracy of those times, that the citizens or the people who live in their kingdom, they will select a king every 5 years. The king will remain the king for 5 years, and after that, every person who is the king, after 5 years of ruling the kingdom, he will be asked to go to a forest, spend rest of his life in the forest. And the forest was full of dangerous animals, no food. I mean, it had everything that you don't want to imagine to happen to your life. But some people knowingly or unknowingly decided to become king or decided to stand for becoming king, got selected, and of course their fate was unknown. Then came a time when they ran out of candidates who wanted to be the king. There was one wise man, they went to him and they requested him. Many citizens, prominent citizens of that kingdom requested him to be the king. He said, only under one condition, I would want to see the jungle first. And they allowed him and he went and saw it. Then he came back, he said, okay, I will be your king from tomorrow. All the procedural things were done, he was made king. Guess what did he do? He managed those 5 years effectively to make his remaining life better. So, he spent time in strategically planning to improve that forest, ensure that the life in the forest is several notches above from where it was. And of course, he also did regular things for the kingdom that he was supposed to do, but he made sure his remaining life is good. So time management is like that. It's a finite resource you have. So if you use it well, so that your remaining life, rest of your life is better, you're a winner. We all have same 24 hours in a day. But how we choose to use that time is on us. We can choose to be productive, choose to make the most of our time, we can waste it on things that really don't matter. Leave the forest the way it is and think that, let me enjoy this time. Who's worrying about, why should I worry about something that is going to happen after 5 years? That last king could have thought like that, but he was glad he didn't. Next is that time management is a skill. Unfortunately, it is not taught in any of the courses that we take in college, school, or outside of that. It is a skill that must be taught. Just like any other skill, it requires practice and discipline. First, it requires knowledge, a realization that, yes, guys, I can manage it. I don't have to be driven by others. I don't have to depend on spending my time on other people around me. I am master of my time. I should learn how to utilize my time. And then you practice and have the discipline of using it. And let's say you may be successful 90%, 80%, 70% of the time, but still you'll be better off than where you are today. So we need to learn how to prioritize the tasks, set goals, and manage time effectively. Do you know what causes stress in our life? They say number one cause of stress in our life is overthinking. And what do we think about the most? Or what do we overthink about the most? Things that we haven't done that we should have done. Regret of not being able to do things on time is the biggest cause of overthinking, and that's the biggest cause of stress. If you learn that, if you remember that, if you apply that, you will have less stress. You will not feel overwhelmed. Even if you're not able to, I will even suggest you one tip here today, that decide every time you think of a task to be done, you do it now. Stop what you're doing, everything else that you're doing, do that now. Again, a thought comes to your mind to call your brother. Oh, I'll call him later. No, call him now. Call him now. A thought comes, let me submit this paper or complete this paper instead of watching this movie or instead of spending my time on social media. Do it now. Or a thought comes, let me delete Instagram from my phone. You can always reinstall it later. I am spending too much time today, I should delete it. Delete it now. This is an exercise I would like to ask you all to practice now. Close your eyes, think about a task that comes to your mind. Provided that task is something that you can do in few seconds or minutes. Task is not that let me plan to go to Himalaya, but even that you can perhaps at least chalk out a plan or search on internet how to go to Himalayas, right? As long as it is doable in the next 1 or 2 minutes, I would urge you to do and write down in your diary, this is the exercise I did now and I completed it. The work-life balance, often people say it's a myth. Well, at times I may agree with it, especially when we are talking about doing one task at a time. How can you achieve balance? I mean, you can either be doing work or living your life. I mean, your life here means that spending time with your family or doing things for yourself, not for someone else or something that you consider as work. So it could be a myth, philosophically speaking, but when you look at it from time management perspective, it's very important to realize that a balance like that, now here balance would mean I have decided to spend 8, 9, 10 hours in doing the work, office work, college work, whatever else you think as work, and remaining time I'll spend with my family, except for emergency situations on either of those, right? To me, that is a good way to define work-life balance for people like you and me. So I'm not thinking about my family when I'm at work, or thinking is fine, but I'm not thinking too much, overthinking about my family. I am just focusing on my work so that I can do this effectively. And when I'm back home, I'm not thinking about my work that I've left behind, right? And spending time solely on being with my family, eating dinner, watching movie, taking them out for a walk, shopping, whatever else I think is my life, I am spending time. Or reading a book, I am spending time on that. So if you think about this, my next exercise for you is, that is for tomorrow, practice that. That when you're at work, school, college, what is your work hour, the daytime, when we're supposed to be out in the world, think about only the work, think about only the studies, not think much about the family. Again, pay attention to the words I'm using. You cannot avoid not thinking about your family completely. Don't think much about the family. Don't overthink. Don't try to bring your family work to your school work, college work, or office work. Here, spend time on office work. And when you go back home tomorrow, in the evening, don't take back any home. Keep your computer off. Remove the work email from your cell phone. Do you know how many companies in the last 2 years, especially post-COVID, have asked people to reduce their work life to 4 days of work. And also, in some cases, they said, do not respond to any work email when you've clocked out, when you are at home. Do not respond. And I am very happy to share with you, none of those companies have found any drop in productivity. Now the question comes, why everybody has not started implementing that? The reason why all the companies, or majority of the companies, have not switched to a 4-day work week, or the rule of not responding to work emails while at home, is a fear. And of course, they may justify the fear by thinking that the productivity will go down and overall, and they can't also pay you less just because they're asking you to come to work for 4 days. I mean, so there's a whole thing, and perhaps the management of those companies, who are not implemented, they should listen to this time management course to learn more about this, that you can become more productive provided you spend time you manage your time effectively. Do work in the work time, spend time with family in the family time. That will be the balance one would be able to achieve. And the last thing in this is that time management is very, very personal, because everyone has different priorities and responsibilities. So you cannot have one size fit all. It's very much like, I would say, a dietitian's approach. You do have many menus or many health apps and all that, but I mean, everything, exercise, diet, and time, these are very personalized. They're very personal. You spend less time in doing certain kind of tasks and more time in doing some other kind of tasks. Some people are in kind of work which has repetitive tasks. So everybody is different from work and personality perspective. So we need to find strategies that work for us individually and adjust them as needed. So utilize this course as a framework. Lessons that I'm going through here, few tips in between, utilize those tips. Those tips will be generic. I am not going to be sharing anything that is specific to you. Like in this, I have shared 2 things with you: how to stop overthinking, doing the task as and when thought of that task comes to your mind. Remember this? That is one lesson, very generic lesson you can apply in anything, in anywhere, including if you feel like brushing your teeth, going to toilet today, now, do it now. Don't delay it or lead to constipation, as they say, right? And other thing we said, how to maintain work-life balance. Don't think much about your family life while at work and vice versa. Apply these. These are generic lessons. Everyone can apply these. So managing your time, as in the conclusion, is that it depends on us and our ability to prioritize, plan, and use our time wisely. By doing so, we can achieve our goals, reduce our stress, create a more balanced and fulfilling life. Hopefully, this lesson is helpful to you. We'll meet at the beginning of the next lesson. Thank you. So friends, I hope all these sample schedules, time blocking technique, and blocking time for doing the right thing, and Eisenhower Matrix and Pomodoro Technique, and all these are helpful to you. Now let me tell you some other techniques or some other tips other than time blocking technique, which are very helpful, and they often get overlooked, perhaps overused sentence, but the reason it has to be used so many times is because people still don't do it. Most of the people I have seen in my experience, when they get up in the morning, they get up with big load on their head. Either they're tired. The image I have, someone getting up and say, "Hey man, where is my coffee?" If you are one of those, it means you didn't have good sleep and you're not starting your day in the right manner. So I hope you don't become one of those guys for whom sleeping and getting up in the morning is a major undertaking. Imagine what would all those poets, philosophers were thinking when they wrote morning to be the time full of hope, full of energy, full of our zeal to take on the world. What is all that? Do you have any of those things? Do you have the hope when you get up in the morning? Do you look forward to getting up? Do you have the zeal to take on the world in the morning? If not, maybe these tips will help you. Start applying these in your life daily till you achieve that. Again, remember, our goal is that we should be looking forward to living every day, looking forward to getting up every day. Neither our sleep nor our waking up should be a task that we are all dreading. Number one tip there is wake up at the same time every day. Establishing a consistent sleep schedule can help you regulate your body's natural circadian rhythm and makes it easier to wake up feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the day. Someday you're getting up at 6, someday 6:30, 7, 7:30, you're sleeping late. And of course, for you to get up at the same time every day, you have to sleep at the same time every day, so they will go both hand in hand. But this is perhaps the single most important thing you can do. Then practice heartfulness meditation. Take few minutes in the morning. There's a heartfulness app you can download, which has some guided practices for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Unless you are a regular, long-time meditator, start with this. Download an app like that. It's a free app. You can do meditation for 5, 10 minutes. It will help you focus. Focus your mind on your heart and help you clear your mind in the process. It will help you develop a sense of calm and clarity that you can carry throughout your day. Usually in the morning, you have a morning routine. I don't know how many of you spend or ever think about what you are doing while brushing your teeth. I think I perhaps read a survey that most of the people, they feel depressed after brushing your teeth. First of all, they get up feeling tired, and then brushing the teeth, thoughts that go around their mind is that the whole day, what they're going to do, right? And that worries them more. And as a result, by the time they end their brushing, they're depressed. Imagine you have an employee like that, who's depressed after brushing his teeth and shows up at work 30 minutes or 40 minutes after that. I think you don't want to see his face. I wouldn't want to. Some people say that your morning starts when you get up. I would say your real morning starts after brushing your teeth. So what is the right way of brushing your teeth is that think about each stroke that is going up and down. Think about your teeth. Be involved in it. 2-minute process. Don't let your mind think about any other problem. You will not be able to solve world hunger while brushing your teeth. You only want to brush your teeth well. And I'm just taking that small task. Same thing can happen in many other morning routine tasks. But every morning routine task, be involved in it. And don't let your mind get distracted. And eat a healthy breakfast. Personally, I am a guy who often does intermittent fasting. So I only take, 1 or 2 things in the morning. But those who are breakfast eaters, starting your day with a healthy, nutritious breakfast can provide you with energy and nutrients that your body needs to stay focused and productive throughout the morning. Just like meditation will nurture your mind and your soul, breakfast will nurture your body. And I, personally love my cup of espresso in the morning. I look forward to it and I don't hide it. And you set clear goals for the day. Today, I want to get this, this and this done. You know everything that you want to get done. You have written it down, perhaps to-do notes and all. take the things that you want to do today. Urgent and important ones first, important and not urgent. Next, urgent and not important. Prioritize these according to that, and then I want to get this done today. So divide those goals that you have into tasks, and now your schedule is set. Eliminate distractions. And what if I tell you I have never turned on my ringer on the phone or notifications on my phone for the last 4 years? Of course, I do check my messages and phone calls, and my phone never rings. My phone has been kept while recording this course for the last few hours, and it will never ring. I always keep the ringer off. There is nothing called an emergency in our lives, other than, of course, somebody dying. But even if the person is dying or dead, I'm not a doctor to do much about it. Sorry to say, use words like this. But I think these emergencies are only in our mind. I have seen people picking a phone in the middle of a meeting. Oh, my friend called. Can you not call him back? You get messages for every email, or ringer for notification for every message you get or every email you get. I'll go mad listening to all that. So eliminate all these distractions. It'll help you stay focused. And very important, take breaks. Important to give yourself a break throughout the day to recharge and refocus. Take short walk, quick exercise, meditation, or even a nap if you, depending upon your age and where you are. All these things are known to help people. Different cultures and civilizations, they have all relied on such things to maintain productivity. Only in present time, in our current work environment, we have for some reason lost these things. Good thing is, these things are coming back. Many of the companies, as I mentioned earlier, are beginning to utilize these time-tested techniques to bring back the efficiency. And I can't stress enough, how to prioritize your tasks. Very, very important. I use my own technique. While beginning of the day, I'll pick up one task from my to-do list. It is generally the big one or a tough one, something that might make me procrastinate if I pick it up later. When your mind is fresh, your mind is ready to take on the world, that's when you want to take up the most difficult task. That's kind of how I take. Because, otherwise, if I take a difficult task in the evening, then I think it'll never get done. So I like to finish it, or at least begin the process of finishing it. Most of the tasks that I do involve other people, so I will, spawn all the work streams that are required to complete this, so I can go back to my other task or other things that I have to do. But prioritizing, taking the most difficult one when you're fresh, is very important. Using the time spent on tedious things for a task that can be done passively. Often I get questions about when to finish the passive tasks. For example, I keep hearing people say that they don't have time to read books, me myself included, or listen to a podcast. But the trick is to do all these things when you're doing something else. This may sound, again, going back to my multitasking, single tasking theory, but I utilize these things a lot. More than reading, listening is something I can do while walking, while going from point A to point B. Even for students, I recommend, utilize your traveling time to your school in learning some new tricks, new trade, new skills, new knowledge. You can listen to videos, courses. You can take up this course while, in a bus going to your school, college, or your workplace. Some very good way to use your time. You're in a way multitasking. So one task is a primary task, other task is a secondary task. Walking and this. Walking doesn't require thinking. So podcast requires thinking. You can do this. I have done reading while being on a treadmill at times, on a slow walk on a treadmill, and it has worked. Not while walking on the road, but on a treadmill it works for me. So I'm just giving you some examples. That kind of helps you. So you can do some passive tasks while doing some other active tasks. That kind of helps you. So you can do some passive tasks while doing some other active tasks. Welcome back, my friends, to the second module of this course. Today we're going to talk about mastering the art of efficiency. As you have seen in the previous module, that time management is a core technique to increase efficiency. Some of you may argue that it is the skill development is the number one way to increase efficiency, and I'm not going to deny that. But time management is that cherry on the top of skill. I mean, if you don't have the skill to do a certain task, God save you. But even if you have the skill, if you don't use your time effectively, you won't be able to become efficient. So both go hand in hand. Even though I said cherry on the top, perhaps it's 50-50. So if time management is core to become efficient, it's a very core technique for us to learn as part of increasing efficiency. Because it depends on how we are going to master that art. I strongly believe that time is, as I have said earlier, time is the greatest equalizer. Rich or poor, intelligent or less, tall and short, people belonging to all races. You may be fair, you may be handsome, you may be most beautiful, but you still have the same amount of time than the person who cannot match you in this thing, in the field I'm talking about. If this great equalizer is there with us, it's very essential for us to learn ways to become efficient. People may have different amounts of resources, money and opportunities, but time is equal. And that's why it's on us how we are going to use the time more efficiently. Number one technique is, many of you from India may remember the old Mahabharata series, which says, "Main samay hoon," right? I am time. Well, time is man-made, regardless of who claims to be time or who doesn't claim to be time. Time is a human invention based on our perception of the interval between two events which are happening in our life. Whether it is day or night, change of seasons, exam time, like people say, semester time and all these things. There are things happening around us. So it is based on our perception and our need to measure it and organize it. In nature, there is no fixed concept of time. Days and nights, seasons and cycles of moon and sun are all natural phenomena that we have learned to measure and mark with the help of tools like calendars and clocks. Different cultures and civilizations have developed different ways of measuring and organizing time throughout history. I'm sure you all know the lunar calendar, solar calendar, and whatnot. And modern day system of timekeeping based on seconds, minutes, and hours is a relatively recent invention. Therefore, time is a man-made concept that we have developed to help us make sense of the world around us and organize our lives. And believe me, I'm not saying it is a bad thing, but it's very important for us to understand. Since it's a man-made concept, we can do something with it. Again, I'll say it's a man-made concept and it's fixed for each one of us. Now, question comes, since it is man-made, since it is fixed for each one of us, what can we do with it? Only thing we can do with it is to manage this time individually for each one of us. Time blocking is a productivity technique where you divide your time into blocks of time and assign specific tasks to each block. Things I'm going to be teaching here or talking about here, none of these are rocket science. These will serve more as reminders to you because I expect smart, intelligent people who are watching this course, who are smart enough to sign up for this course, at least have heard about these things. So I'm barely serving as a person to remind you and help you implement. See, our brain have limited attention and focus capacity, and they work best when we have clear, focused goals and objectives. Like I mentioned earlier, if we use our brain more as a storehouse of information, our creativity, senses, or the part of the brain which is creative, it just shuts off. So less information, more focus, more clarity in our mind is helpful to us to become more creative. So when we have clear plan of what we need to do, when we need to do it, our brain can better focus on the task at hand, and we are more likely to achieve our goals. Time blocking helps you to create a clear plan of what needs to be done and when, by breaking down tasks into smaller, more manageable tasks, which you can allocate to chunks of time. So by assigning a specific chunk of time or block of time for each task, you can prioritize them better. You can prioritize your most important tasks, let's say, or most difficult task in the morning when you're fresh. Or in case of students, I know when I was a student, I would prefer to do the most difficult task or lessons at night, because I used to be more fresh after everyone is asleep and I'm just listening to some background music in the dark of the night. Used to bring the best in me. So that is again very individual, personalized, up to you. But if you say that every task I am going to allocate 30 minutes and I'm going to divide every goal I have or every major thing I have in my life or my day-to-day into 30-minute chunks, you will be perhaps surprised. Recently I had the opportunity of meeting many ministers from Government of India, including the Prime Minister, and many bureaucrats. One thing I was very, very surprised about, how efficient these folks were, contrary to what people think. This whole task of we need degrees to become Prime Minister or bureaucrat or all that. I mean, of course, bureaucrats are all educated, but even to become leaders in the country like India may be true to some extent, but looking at the present government, I was very surprised to find this not to be true. What I found was that in PMO and in many other ministries, they are not allowed to assign more than 30 minutes for any meeting, except for the cabinet meeting or the meeting of national importance, where they will say 4 chunks of time, 30 minutes, 4 30-minute chunks, so 2 hours. And it was very surprising to see that time management is not the, meaning we from the corporate world, we are not the only custodians of being time efficient or custodians of time management. Even the people whom we don't expect to be efficient and masters of time management, they are the masters of time management and efficiency. They are doing it very well and applying same principles. So whether you are a student, professional, or Prime Minister of a country, time blocking is very, very essential. That is the crux of this. See, studies have shown that time blocking can increase your productivity and reduce your stress by allowing you to manage your time more effectively. I mean, if I've already talked about this. There is a technique called Pomodoro Technique. It's a time blocking technique where work is broken down into 25-minute intervals followed by short breaks. And scientifically, they have done a lot of scientific experiments around it, and they have found it to be very, very effective in improving focus and productivity, because they say that allowing your brain to rest and recharge between intervals, between 25-minute intervals, is the most optimum way for you to maintain your balance. Now, it has been implemented world over in many different variations. I have seen in early parts of my life when I had visited some factories in Singapore, every 25 minutes a bell will ring. I mean, this is the era when China was not the manufacturing capital. Singapore used to be. Singapore, Hong Kong, and Taiwan used to be. So every 25 minutes a bell will ring, and people, all the workers, factory workers, will drop what they're doing, put their head on the desk, resting their mind. 5 minutes, bell will ring again, they'll come back, start working. So some people from the Western side, they said, well, the starting time and the slowing down time, you're wasting a lot of time. But they're forgetting the rest. Let's say even if you spend 1 minute to wind down and 1 minute to wind up, 3 minutes of that rest you were getting was very, very meaningful for them. And then every 4 hours, they will give you 20 minutes of rest. In one of those 20 minutes, you will also have your lunch or your meal in between. So, I mean, they had perfected that, and I don't know how they're doing it in China now, but I'm sure they're using some variation of that. So here are some time blocking techniques that students can use to manage their time more effectively. See, you can use a planner or calendar. A digital calendar, I'm sure these days everybody has Gmail. So in the Gmail, calendar is part of the Gmail package, most of the packages around Gmail. So you can use that very effectively. There are many free digital calendars also available that you can use, for the individual, they are free. If you want to use them for team management, team time blocking, or team time management or something, they like to sell you the add-on modules. So you can use a weekly planner also to create a schedule. I mean, in olden times when I was a student, we used to use the good old diaries, There are all kinds of diaries. They're still available, actually. I recommend buying those just to, if nothing else, to keep it in your archive. Later on, your grandkids will really, thank you for keeping such a nice thing for them to inherit from you. Because these things may not be available after a few years. So there are planners available in the market. They're called daily planners, weekly planners. They're like diaries, small or big like this, where you can actually plan your whole day. But these days, of course, in the time of phone and digital world, apps and all that, we prefer to use this, and I think you should. So I have added in this course material, for your reference, some scheduling options that you can use. So you can make sure to include all your commitments, such as your classes, your study activities, and your personal time. I mean, because as I said, managing your time is a very personalized thing. So it depends on you. You only know what all tasks you are required to do on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So I'll just give you some templates in this, and you can use them to plan. And practice this. So this could be a good way for you to practice, because it's not just you putting them down, but also following that. You can put down all you want. If you don't follow it, it's of no use. So once you have decided on your digital calendar or planner that you're going to use, we are going to come to the next thing, which is prioritize my tasks. So decide on the calendar, write down all the tasks that you have, and now you come to prioritizing all your tasks based on their importance and urgency. Some tasks have to be done today or tomorrow or day after. Some can wait till later. One benefit you will find is, like, it could be anything. Let's say your medical checkup or submission of your assignment. There's no point of you thinking about it every day if you're supposed to submit it on 15th day. I'll prefer you write it down on 13th day to serve you as a reminder, so that if it takes you a few hours to do it, if it's a longer task, of course, look at how much time it's going to take and then put it in your calendar on that particular day, so that you get a reminder on that particular time and day. So you prioritize based on importance and urgency. Very important to look at the urgency. Everything is important in our life actually, but it's the urgency that differs. So you can use the Eisenhower Matrix to categorize tasks into 4 categories. These are industry proven techniques that I'm going to talk about. This is called Eisenhower Matrix. Number 1, urgent and important. Number 2 is important but not urgent. Urgent but not important. And neither urgent nor important. My friends, checking reels comes in the last one. Neither urgent nor important. Sorry to pick on you, the reel side. But I'm sure you realize why this matrix is so important. You know that when we talk about that example of a professor bringing a jar, bringing big stones, small pebbles, sand and water to the class, that was exactly to demonstrate this. He asked students how would they fill the jar, how would they fit everything into the jar. Of course, somebody will fill sand first, then water, then stone, and then pebbles. There's no room for stones, big stones. Someone did some other way, but the wisest of them all had put the big stones first, then he put the small pebbles, then the sand, and then the water. I mean, you know that it depends on, I mean, each of these depict the part of this matrix. Things which are urgent and important, big ones, big rocks. They are tough, they are hard work, there are hard tasks you have which are very important. You have to do those first. And then there are tasks which are important, not urgent. Those could be your small pebbles. And then it could be sand, urgent, but not important. Because if it's urgent, even if it's not important, it will find its way like the sand does. And water, neither important, not urgent. I mean, even if it doesn't get done, it's okay. So that's kind of how the experiment or how this matrix goes. Hope it is clear to you. Now, other thing you can do is you can batch similar tasks together, such as reading assignments or homework to increase your productivity. For example, you can, a block of time, now here I'm referring to the block of 25 plus 5, 30 minutes, to work on math homework and then move on to reading assignments, because they will aid each other. Your mindset will be aligned to that. And other important thing is to set realistic goals. You can keep blocks, you can prioritize tasks, but if your goals are not realistic, if a math homework which is supposed to take 10 hours, you have assigned only 2 blocks of time, obviously you are in for a big shock here, right? Because all other tasks that you had assigned for remaining 9 blocks or 18 blocks will go down the window. So now, of course, I mean, you know, it's too much to expect students to come up with or set realistic goal, assign tasks, and do this, do that. You think, man, isse acha to main nahi karta ye. It's better not do this. But I think as you practice, you'll become better at it. And you may make mistakes, and sometimes things will take longer. But good thing is, certain things you may think should have taken longer would get done in shorter amount of time, right? So all this is part of life. So please stay at it, I would say, because there is something that you will learn out of this that you can use for rest of your life. Remember the thing that King did. He made his remaining life better by spending his 5 years of kingdom wisely. So I will urge you to spend these 180 minutes wisely to make the rest of your life more smooth. So make your goals achievable, realistic, given the time you have allocated for each task. Once you set your mind to it, you'll find that you are thinking like this, like we think about time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So you would know, instead of saying that I'm going to allocate 1 block of time for brushing teeth, no, you're going to say I'm going to allocate 1 block of time for getting ready in the morning. So you have 25 minutes to get ready. And I know of folks who take an hour, right? So they would hopefully learn. Initially they can allocate 2 blocks, but eventually they will learn to do that in 1 block. And then there are guys like me who spend 20 minutes in getting ready. So you still have 5 extra minutes in your block and 5 minutes of rest time. So a total of 10 minutes to do something else, right? I watch some videos to learn something new in that time. So these are some examples. Hopefully they'll help you. That setting realistic goals is an essential part, but it is also one of those It is important but not urgent because you will learn over time how to set realistic goals. Now let me give you some examples of time blocking. Let's say you get up every morning at 8 o'clock. So 8 to 9, here I am giving you 2 blocks of time, 8 to 9 for morning routine, and I'm adding more things in it, just not getting ready, but I am also adding breakfast, exercise, and meditation. So let's say 25 minutes for getting ready, 10 minutes for breakfast, 10 minutes for exercise, and 10 minutes for meditation. Of course, you should go in reverse. You should start your day with meditation, then you should exercise, then you should get ready and have breakfast. 1 hour of time, morning routine, 8 to 9. After getting good 8 hours of sleep, you get up at 8 o'clock or 7:55. 9 to 11, study time for math class. This is not a class itself, it's a study time. So you'll be using 4 blocks here to study for your upcoming math class or the previous math classes where you were given some assignment. So I will urge you to use 5 minutes in every 25 minutes to rest or to do something else and then come back to your math class. 11 to 12, let's say lunch break. 12 to 2, study time for history class, similar to that, right? 2 to 2:30, break for social media or emails. So this also means that in between your phone is kept as far away from you as possible. So from 9, let's say, from 9 o'clock till 2:30, when you have your break for social media, 2 o'clock. From 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock, your phone is kept away. So now from 2 to 2:30, you have blocked this time for checking your email, responding to social media messages and all that. Now 2:30 to 3:30, you have study group for science class. 3:30 to 4:30, you have personal times of reading, listening to music, going for a walk, whatever else you want to do. In fact, I will suggest do different things different day. One day you spend time in reading, other day time going for a walk while listening to an audiobook or music. Third day, you can use this block of time for something else. 4:30 to 6:30, homework time. Now here you can batch similar tasks. The homework for subject X, Y, and Z. You can combine them in these 2 hours. Then you have dinner break from 6:30 to 7:30. Then 7:30 to 8:30, review for upcoming exams. Now imagine, I wish I was told these things when I was a student, because I always struggled to find time for preparing for upcoming exam till the last day, and then there was a struggle. If we are able to allocate 1 hour every day to refresh what we have learned in a particular subject in the last 1 week or last 1 day, I think it will do us a lot of good. 8:30 to 9:30, personal time again. You can watch TV, play games, or do something for leisure. 9:30 to 10, night routine. Preparing for bed. Some people use this time to catch up with some friends, talk about all the good old times, or, going for a walk, doing an evening meditation, or whatever else you may want to do. You are here preparing for your bed. It depends on what time you sleep. You still have good amount of time. For students, they may want to continue study after that, and 11 to 12 till 11 or 12 o'clock sleep, because you're getting up next day morning at 8 o'clock. So 12 to 8 is a good sleeping time, or 11 to 7 is a good sleeping time for most of the students. So overall, time blocking can help students manage their time more effectively and take away the unnecessary stress. Or when will I do this? Now when will I do that? You've already put that in the block. You can expand those blocks of time to add some specifics. When are you going to review the chapter on X, Y, and Z topic? You can put that down along with that in your digital calendar. That'll help you a lot. So you don't have to think, when I'm going to do this, because it's there in your calendar. So by allocating specific blocks of time for each task, students can increase their productivity and focus on their priorities. In my professional career, I think I always had a habit of juggling between various different things. One was, let's say, my existing job and a new startup idea that I want to pursue, juggling between the two, or juggling between deliverables for customer 1, customer 2, and customer 3. I mean, I really can't remember the time when I was able to, or I was assigned only one task, maybe very early in my career. As soon as I moved to US, I remember I was managing 3 projects, even as an engineer, where I was forced to find these techniques that I'm going to share with you today on how to improve my efficiency, how to live, breathe, and being able to do all these things that are assigned to you. I mean, for me, it was more of a necessity than a planned course to learn this. I mean, so I learned the hard way. Hopefully it helps you. So number one thing I will share with you for professionals to manage time effectively or learn efficiency, how to get maximum efficiency out of you, is schedule focus time. So, you can schedule focus time for your most important task. When I say focus time, meaning you're going to be most focused at this time. So take your most important task when you're going to be most focused and most productive, let's say in the morning. First thing in the morning, before you actually start getting bombarded with all the emails that are coming to you. So you put that time for your most important tasks. I have seen often people put the evening time for that, most focused work, when everybody's gone from work and nobody's there to bother you, to stop by your office, and you shut down your email, your WhatsApp and all that. Spend 1 hour of focus time to prepare the report that you're supposed to give to committee, board, boss, whoever it is, next day morning. That's one example. Second, as I said, is in the morning you walk in and you're going to be fresh. Turn off your email and turn off your WhatsApp and just spend the first 1 hour to prepare for whatever most focused work, or to do the most focused work that has been assigned to you or that you have on your plate. And then you can get into the rest of the day. If you walk in and get involved in the email and other Slack and all these things, I think God help you. So I'll suggest utilize the concept of focus time for the most important task. When to assign that focus time, that is up to you. Next is prioritize your tasks. You can prioritize your tasks based on their importance and urgency. That is similar to what we did for students. You can use the Eisenhower Matrix. That is a time-tested technique. Categorize the task into 4 categories: urgent and most important, important and not urgent, and urgent, not important, neither urgent nor important. So using this Eisenhower Matrix will help you, because you will find yourself not spending majority of your time in tasks which are in the 4th category, neither urgent nor important. So at least you'll be saved from that, and then you'll be struggling with the first 3, and hopefully you can keep the 3rd one also in check, so only the first 2. And urgent ones will find their way to get done anyway. So this always helps, thinking about your tasks which are allocated to you based on that. Then comes meetings. In today's corporate world, despite all the efficient techniques people have allocated, I have started seeing in America, in US especially, that they have forced your calendar. Outlook is the most popular app there for calendar, and corporates are forcing everyone to allocate meetings which are not more than 30 minutes. You can have 2 blocks of 30 minutes for a meeting, but you'll be forced to allocate 1 block per meeting. Because when I visit my customers in California, we are told 30-minute meeting slot you have. Now, if they want to spend more time, they can, conference room booking or anything else that is there. It's all linked to that. So you're forced, 30 minutes, let me end the meeting. You show up on time, you end the meeting on time, life is good. Now, other important thing is that the time when you want to have meetings. Now, this is something I've learned from some of the senior executives in California, that they would say that I will allocate 11 to 1 for meetings. Morning time is my focus time. I do the important tasks which are assigned to me personally, shut out all the emails and everything. 9 to 10 is that. 10 to 11, I'm catching up with my assistant. And 11 to 1 is meetings. And after, lunch, I have time for my staff. Good way. I have seen one guy will say, every staff meeting I will do is a walking meeting. So he also gets in his exercise during the time. So he for his own staff, if he's in his meeting with his boss or other people, his peers, he doesn't have that luxury. But with his staff, he has the luxury of allocating the time when he wants and how he wants to spend the time. I really love that. Imagine if you are able to do that. 9 to 10 personal focus, 10 to 11 catching up with your assistant, with your tools, with your emails and maybe things like that. 11 to 1 for meetings, clients, vendors, whoever else is coming from outside. And then 1 onwards, you have time for your staff meetings or your boss's staff meetings or your department staff meeting. So that's and you're walking or doing something else along with it. It's a perfect way to schedule this. So that you can something to think about. Other tip, it could be useful, that you can avoid scheduling back-to-back meetings. Give it a gap. It can be stressful at times that you have back-to-back meetings. There's a meeting customer A, 11 to 11:30, customer B, 11:30 to 12. Or you can mingle one customer meeting with a department meeting. Customer meeting, department meeting, something like that. So that can help. So remember this, scheduling back-to-back meetings. You can try this, whether you can manage it or not, or you can avoid it, right? So let's go to the next tip. Use time slot for email. I mentioned that earlier. I have read a study, the most efficient CEOs are the ones, this is a study published by some reputed journal, that they use 4 times they check their emails in a day. Now, I'm guilty that I spend more than 4 times, but I think it's something that I'm aspiring to do myself. 4 slots of, let's say, 30 minutes each for email, Slack, text, and WhatsApp. These days, problem is that we have too many such tools. So 4 30-minute slots, I think is more than enough for you. One, in my case, I like to use one early in the morning after my morning routine, because then I'm prepared. I'm not thinking of what else is left. And also someone like me who works across various time zones, I do need to pay attention to what happened in US while US folks are still up, or vice versa, when Indian folks are still up. So I have to utilize that. So I utilize the 30 minutes in the morning to look at my messages and respond to the most important and urgent ones, while I'll keep other messages in the second or third bucket. And I get to not urgent, not important when I get to them. They generally are in my review folder. So that's a good way, and then spend 4 slots, not more than that. That is something you can start implementing. Throughout the day, scheduling breaks throughout the day to avoid burnout and maintain focus. Take time, take short breaks. And in those breaks, I have given a lot of ideas earlier. You can take short walk around the office, around the corridor of the office, in the garden next to the office, or anywhere you want. Let's say 20 to 30 minute short break. You are maintaining that to do some stretches, to meditate, to refresh your mind and your body. Take those breaks to really help you. And then batch similar tasks. Now, this may go against what I said earlier about meetings. Somebody may say, I like to batch similar meetings. I personally do that. I like to have times when I have back-to-back meetings, but I know it's not for everyone. So see what works for you here. But batching similar tasks is helpful, and it is helpful to maintain the continuity for a while. And suppose you're reading a paper, and based on the paper, you're taking the quiz, as an example. So it helps you batch these 2 things together, because then your information is fresh in your mind. You read a contract and you attended a meeting related to that contract. That's helpful. So that's batching. This is a different task. Reading a contract, attending a meeting based on the contract, batch them together. That is very, very helpful. And then responding to email right after that. That's kind of, you can, or writing a report on that. So that's all batching similar tasks. And last but not the least is setting realistic goals. It is something that you will learn through experience. setting realistic goals for each time block, each task, but it's very essential. Assigning less time than you're supposed to have or more time, both of them are equally bad. So I think it's important for you to figure that out. Assign realistic goals for each time block. That'll help you maintain your sanity, maintain things achievable and realistic. So given the time you have allocated for each task, it's kind of help you complete those. Now, example of time blocking here for professionals, and I would say here, maybe I'm hoping, based on when I was a professional, I used to get up at least at 6:30 or 7. So I will kind of, assume that your morning schedule is already completed by the time you are at work. So I used to get up at 6:30 in early days of my career, or 6. So I finish meditation and finish my morning routine, and then I'm ready for work at 8 o'clock. So 8 to 9 is the focus time for completing important project tasks. Email, messages or messaging is all shut down, and this is the focus time for important tasks. 9 to 10 is your meeting with the team, meeting with your team members, your personal assistant to discuss important project progress, giving them assignments and all that. 10 to 10:30 or something, you can allocate 30 minutes for your email time, checking and responding to emails. And the next, you can have, 10:30 to 11:30, focus time for completing important tasks again. And the time following that, you can have for lunch break or in between. You can use the time to making some phone calls with the client and all that. So let's say you come to after your lunch, you're 1 o'clock, and you have a time of 1 to 2. This is a good time to make phone calls because after lunch, you might be a bit slow anyway. So talking to some people at that time on the phone or in person, I have some meetings in person, 1 to 2, that time will help you just be engaged. And 2 to 3, focus time for writing reports. Now, these are all samples based on your profile. You can make changes. 3 to 3:30, use that as a break for walking, meditation, or stretching. It's a very, very good time, 3 to 3:30 for doing that. And then 3:30 to 4:30, again, focus time for completing important project tasks or meeting with your boss or meeting with your team, your staff and all that, and discussing things. Then again, 4:30 to 5, you can use for email time, checking and responding to emails. And then, before you wrap up for the day, you still may have an hour before the day gets wrapped up. So that hour is available to you for doing some other tasks. Again, depending upon your work, you may want to study, do some market research. So that's a good time, evening time, market is closed, and 5 to 6 you can utilize for that. So if you see overall, the time blocking will help you think through your day in a very organized manner and reduce all the overwhelming feeling or stress, and you can use your time productively. Because you have allocated time for everything that you are required to do. Now, if in between some urgent, important task comes, you have some blocks to find time. Now, every time I do this, I find that if somebody calls me, I need to have a meeting with you tomorrow, I know I can, without looking at my calendar, I can tell them, you can come at this time, either 8 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Actually, most of the people know this who work with me, because I have kept those for, if I may call it, I'm not a doctor, but walk-in meetings. The meeting which I don't have in my schedule for talking to customers or doing some other task, those are the times I have for free time for meetings. Anybody can come to my place or my office at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. or at 4 p.m. and I should be available for a meeting. So I think that's kind of another way for you to come up with it. And this way you can focus on things that you want to focus on and nobody will disturb you during that time period. Friends, as we come to the close of the second module of this time management course, on which I hope you have been spending useful time. So let me give you the few takeaways from this module. Number 1 is time is a man-made concept, and managing time depends on the individuals. Number 2 is time management is key to achieving your goals and finding time to rest and rejuvenate. Time management can become a habit once you start doing it, or only once you start doing it. Time blocking is a scientifically proven method that can help you manage your time more effectively. Finding ways to manage your time should be a continuous effort. Setting a routine can go a long way. Meditation and healthy sleep patterns can often help in many ways you cannot imagine. Don't get overwhelmed under too much pressure. Rather, focus on what you can control. Rely on your creativity, as it will help you have a deeper understanding in limited time. Do you struggle with managing your time effectively? Are you constantly feeling overwhelmed with your workload? Introducing the Pomodoro Technique, a time management method that can help you improve your productivity and reduce stress. The Pomodoro Technique is a simple and effective way to break down your work into smaller, more manageable tasks. To get started, make a to-do list of everything you need to accomplish during the day. Then set your Pomodoro timer for 25 minutes and start working on your first task. During these 25 minutes, focus solely on your task. Don't allow any distractions to interrupt you. When the timer goes off, take a 5-minute break to recharge. This break will allow you to clear your mind, re-energize, and prepare for the next Pomodoro session. Once your break is over, set the timer for another 25 minutes and continue with your next task. Repeat this process for each task on your to-do list. By breaking your work into smaller, more manageable tasks, you will feel a sense of accomplishment with each Pomodoro session. And once you have completed your task for the day, you will have more free time to do the things you enjoy. So why not give your Pomodoro technique a try? You may just find it is the key to unlocking your productivity and reducing your stress. Welcome to the video on time blocking technique, a powerful tool for managing your time and increasing productivity. In this video, we will discuss what time blocking is and how it can be used with a real-life example. Time blocking is a time management technique that involves scheduling your day into specific blocks of time for different tasks. It's a way of breaking your day down into smaller, more manageable chunks so that you can focus on one thing at a time and reduce distractions. Let's take a look at an example of how to use time blocking. Meet John, a busy professional who works a demanding job and has many personal commitments. Sound like one of you or one of me? John often finds himself overwhelmed and struggling to manage his time effectively. To help him regain control of his schedule, John decided to try time blocking. He started by identifying his most important tasks, such as completing a report for work, which his boss had asked him to do, going to gym, and spending quality time with his lovely wife. He then created a daily schedule, allocating specific blocks of time for each task. For example, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., he worked on his report. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., he went to the gym. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., he spent time with his family. John found, using time blocking, he was able to accomplish more in less time and reduce his stress level. He didn't have to spend time in thinking about doing important tasks. He didn't have to overthink. He didn't have to remind himself because he knew he has already allocated time for things he definitely wanted to do today. And of course, for the rest of the time, he did other things which are part of his daily routine, like checking emails, talking to his team and all that. Those were not important for which he had to block time. He no longer felt pulled in different directions by competing demands on his time. Instead, he had a clear plan for each day and could focus on one thing at a time. Eisenhower Matrix. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed by your workload? Do you often find yourself struggling to prioritize tasks and manage your time effectively? If so, you're not alone. But there is a solution. The Eisenhower Matrix is a powerful tool for time management that can help you organize your tasks and focus on what is truly important. The Eisenhower Matrix is divided into 4 quadrants based on the urgency and importance of tasks. In the first quadrant, we have tasks that are both urgent and important. These are tasks that require your immediate attention and have a direct impact on your goals and objectives. Examples might include a deadline for a major project, or a client meeting, or a client problem to be solved. The second quadrant is for tasks that are important but not urgent. These are the tasks that can contribute to our long-term goals but do not require immediate attention. Examples might include planning for a future project or developing a new skill. The third quadrant is for tasks that are urgent but not important. These are tasks that don't necessarily contribute to our goals. Examples might include responding to non-urgent emails or attending non-important meetings. Finally, the fourth quadrant is for tasks that are neither urgent nor important. These are the tasks that we should eliminate or delegate to others. Examples might include browsing your social media or mindlessly checking email, but let's say, some may say that those are more personal things, not work-related tasks. Among the work-related tasks, you may have things, let's say, sending a thank you letter to some client or some vendor who has come to meet you. Can be easily delegated. It is neither urgent nor important. By using Eisenhower Matrix, you can prioritize your task based on the importance and urgency and focus your time and energy on the tasks that matter the most. Try using the Eisenhower Matrix today and take control of your time and productivity. Don't worry if you feel too many thoughts passing through your mind. Just ignore them, bring your attention back to your heart, and stay with it for as long as you can, gently, softly. You're not fighting a battle in meditation, but letting your thoughts die down so that you can transcend all these to be on the peaceful, quiet side of your inner self. Finally, congratulations, my time-managing amigos. Have you tried meditating yourself before? Of course, I shared Heartfulness app, which you can download. It has guided meditation techniques in multiple languages. You can select language of your choice and go through guided meditation techniques, which will walk you through steps for meditation. I thought, why not I also help you a bit to walk you through meditation for a few minutes. If you are ready, join me. Sit quietly. First of all, if you are ready, you please join me for the next few minutes to learn meditation. The meditation I do or I teach is called Heartfulness. It requires you to keep your focus on the heart with the idea your heart is filled with source of light. There's nothing more to it. It's a very simple technique. Doesn't require you to try too many breathing in, breathing out, or moving your legs here and there. To start with, make sure you are sitting at a quiet place in your house. That is helpful. You can sit on a chair or on a sofa or on the floor. You don't require any specific posture. Simple way to sit that you can hold for a few minutes without moving too much. Sit quietly. Gently close your eyes. Take few deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, with your eyes closed, gently bring your awareness to your heart. Here we are referring to the spiritual heart, which is 3 fingers down from your left nipple, if you like to measure it. Approximation is fine. Just bring your awareness to your heart. I have this idea that your heart is filled with source of light. It's just an abstract idea. Stay with that idea without forcing yourself. Other thoughts, if they come, ignore them. Ignore them like uninvited guests, while bringing your awareness back to the heart with the idea there is source of light in the heart. Stay with it, immerse yourself in it, go deeper within it for as long as you can. Every time you catch yourself distracted, it's okay, bring yourself back to the same thought. I will say please begin meditation. There will be a period of silence, and then I will say that's all. Don't be in a rush to open your eyes. Open them only when I prompt you to do so. We meditate for just a few minutes, and let's see how you feel. Please begin meditation.